He's build up some pieces on the king side now. Knight f3. And I'm getting a little bit worried about like queen h4, bishop h6 type of stuff. But probably I don't need to panic here. You know, if worse come to worse, I could play like rook e8 followed by knight f8. You know, if he starts to try to attack me directly. So I don't think that it's I don't think this thing is quite working with so okay, c4. That's a really bad move positionally. It should be kind of like harikiri for white from the strategic level. Rook e8 is interesting. The idea of knight f8, knight e6, knight e4. His bishop on g2 is very bad. So the a file is a factor here, though, and I think I should strongly consider trying to find ways to basically take over the a file. I think this simple move, knight d4, threatening knight c2, trading, basically his only attacking piece. And now we have an interesting choice, because obviously from a general strategic standpoint, so knight takes d4, bishop takes d4 would be the strategic move, but c takes d4 deserves consideration because the c5 square becomes a kind of monster outpost for my knight. So I don't know. Otherwise, my knight doesn't really work that well. It's kind of a tough call here. Bishop takes feels a little more natural. Um, bishop takes, bishop g2, rook, bishop g2, then yeah, rook e8, rook a8. Yeah, I guess this is more correct from a positional aspect. Thank you for streaming Chess Other Than Bullet and providing commentary. You're welcome. Cerebral Assassin said Queen a5 seemed like aimed for a solid result. Queen a5. There is no Queen a5 in this position. Maybe you were talking about a previous game. Or maybe you meant Queen h4, which actually just happened. So maybe it has some kind of psychic ability, Cerebral Assassin. Queen h4 is the mirror image of Queen a5. I think that white is a pretty weak player, and I don't mind trading queens in this position because the dark squares are just owned by black. What about this though? What if he goes bishop g5? Bishop g5, bishop takes, bishop f6, bishop takes f6. Yeah. I'm going to have to do something here. Knight e5 is interesting, f6 is interesting. My dark squares, I just own the dark squares. e6, bishop h6. I mean, I could play anything. I could play f6, g5 there. That's not unreasonable. Although I do have to watch out for the a file. If he plays bishop g5, bishop f6 or f6. f6 is very weakening. Yeah. I'm not in love with this idea to play e6 anymore. I can play knight e5. We can't play rook a8. I can play knight e5. What does it do though, knight e5? If he plays bishop e2, I'm not making any kind of progress. I could reposition my knight on c6, pull the bishop back, and put the knight on d4. I think that's a reasonable plan. Knight c6 would keep his rook off of a7. Get the knight into an active position. He said, like I said, solid result. I don't know. Yeah. Bishop e2, f4 is not playable, so I don't have to hurry here. But I want to be able to meet. I want to be able to meet beat bishop g5, bishop f6, and even with the bad pawns. Though it's not forced to play bishop f6, I could play bishop f6 and be like clearly better, despite a worse pawn structure based on the weakness of the dark squares across the board for black. His bishop is so bad after bishop g5, bishop f6 that I think only black can play for a win in that position. Though I have other options. I mean, I can simply play f6 and g5, or just f6 and hang out. But knight c6 cuts off his rook from going to a7, which could have been kind of an annoying thing. It also protects e7. So at this point now, we'd like to take over the a file, if possible. We have time for like queen c7. I think we do. I mean, I think we have a lot of time here. His queen, actually not real well placed. He's ready to play f4, but I think this slow move, queen c7, is fine. And we're just systematically going to try to break through on the queen side with rook a8, followed by, rook a2, basically. Or simplified trade pieces. Time is a little bit of a problem. I enjoy your game 15 streams as well, good sir. Thank you. Yeah. Queen c7, white to move. So we're going to play at least one more game. Yeah, game 15 is much more instructive than blitz chess. We're just doing blitz chess occasionally for a little variation and fun. But basically, now this is the plan. This is a classic like closed English where the queenside counterplay is faster than the kingside counterplay because of the weakness of certain squares. Like the d4, e5 square gives me a lot of counterplay. And now I need to be a little bit careful about my king side. So bishop g7 should probably be considered. But I don't think it's necessary just yet. I'm threatening rook a1. Trading pieces, in this case, would be good, like rook a1. And we have knight e5 as defensive maneuver. I'm not sure about queen c7. That, alright, now this. Now he's starting to get threats. He's starting to have threats here. Rook a1. It's okay. He's not threatening any rook takes f7s yet, is he? It's pretty close, though. It's looking pretty close. Maybe I should play knight e5. Knight e5. Or bishop g7. Bishop g7 worth considering. That would... Gotta move. Okay, knight e5 guards the f7 point. Everything's protected. We're sort of threatening to play rook a1. And he's tied down to the b2 pawn. I'm the only one here that loses 200 elo with 3D pieces. You know what? Logically compromised. I think that you can lose 200 elo with any kind of pieces. Because you just get used to one. Whatever that may be. it's very, very, important which pieces, you get used to one, and it makes a big difference. See, now here, do I want to take toward the center? That's my inclination. And queen h6. I don't see any concrete threats for white here. Queen h6 even still doesn't threaten anything. Bishop g5. Bishop g5 maybe is his best try, but I was thinking about this queen h6. So now queen h6, I think what I want to do is make sure he doesn't have a tactic. He's looking at rook takes f7, but I'm just walking away if he does that. Maybe h4, h5 is his idea. I also can play like queen d8, queen g7. Probably a reasonable, safe plan for black. Safety first. So queen d8 with the idea of queen f8, queen g7. Looks like a good way to get him out of my position. So you're the only one here that loses Elo with 3D pieces. I like the 3D pieces, but again, you have to get used to one or the other. It's very, very hard to switch back and forth. But if you guys decide that you like, everybody likes like 2D pieces better, I would be willing to change to switch. Bishop g5 is a threat now. He's back on h4 again. But rook a1, rook takes a1. What am I going to do? King g7 doesn't work. Knight d7, knight c6, queen f8, queen f8. Queen f8 allows bishop h6, and I don't make any progress. So I need a move that kind of improves my position. You play rook a1, but what concerned me is rook a1, rook takes a1. Yeah, I think it's a little dangerous. Rook a1, rook takes a1, rook takes a1, bishop g5, rook takes f1. Yeah, that's nothing, actually. So rook a1, what's not nothing is probably rook a1, bishop g5, rook takes b1, rook takes f1. I could possibly sack my queen. Rook a1, bishop g5, rook takes b1, bishop takes e7, rook takes f1, bishop takes d8, rook g1 check, king h2, rook a1, and I think that's good for me. Let's try it. Bernard, I'm running out of time. This either works or it doesn't work. 3D is good when you play a lot on the board also. VSim is on the fence. He said he likes the 2D, but he doesn't mind the 3D. Alright, does this work or not? Is he gonna take... He didn't do it. Now I have f6, man. I think f6... we're happy for this. I think after f6, we can sort of consolidate. Okay, gotta be careful though. This is not a joke. Bishop g5, g5. g5 probably gets mated to a piece sacrifice. I can also play rook a2. Looks like a practical move. If he plays queen h6, we play queen f8 or queen e8. If he goes for opposite color bishops,